Good morning. Morning Oasis time. I have this horrible blemish. I could put a ton of makeup on it, but then I'd have a ton of crap on my face and I'm just not interested. So you guys get to see my blemish. Man, it really shows up in this light, doesn't it? It's like this dark spot on my face. Anyway, good morning. Morning Oasis time. Welcome in. It is what is today? Today is Wednesday the 31st. It's the last month of May. So this pretty much marks 6 months of doing Morning Oasis as a daily practice, weekday mornings. I feel really proud of all of us for being here every day for 6 months. And I know that not all of you have been with me since the very beginning, but some of you have. Our audience started out, I think we had 15 to 20 people in the mornings. And now we are up to around 50 to 60 people joining us each morning as we're doing the show. And by the end of the day, we have over 100 people watching on a daily basis. Isn't that amazing? Good morning, Nivian. Good morning, Connie. I see you've come in also. Tomorrow I'm coming to read baskets. I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish my lid for my other basket that I've been working on. It is so ready to be finished, and I've been making a little surprise basket, and I thought I would work on that while I was out there with you. Super excited. That one's for you. All right, so we already have our card pulls scheduled for today, so I'm going to go ahead and just do the announcements really quickly, and then we'll jump right into the card pulls, and we're going to continue our week of how do we fight? What do we do when we're fighting? How do we do that? And how can we make it work for us? How can we make a fight the best gift ever given to us? So that's what we're kind of focusing on this week. In this week of Memorial Day, of world fighting, especially with our country, so fight happy, really, especially right now, sadly. Okay, so the Psychic Fair is going to be on June 24th. I'm so excited about this, you guys. It's the first ever Healing Pathwalker Psychic Fair. We are going to be doing it in McMinnville because that's kind of between here and there for Shauna and I. It's about an hour south of Portland. We're going to be going from 11 to 4. We'll be there for a long time. There's going to be all kinds of different readers and practitioners. We'll have, let's see, we've got Brian. He's a dragon master and does Reiki fire. And really, ultimately, Brian is just one of those people that helps you find a way to play in your energy and enjoy it. We've got Katarina, who's a Mayan abdominal therapist as well as licensed massage therapist. She also does Reiki. I mean, she's one of those people that just has all the letters after her name. And when I first started seeing her, I saw her for probably, gosh, I don't know, 6 or 7 sessions. I can't remember exactly. I have never felt my wings so open and free and flowing. She did work on me that was just absolutely powerful. And though I haven't experienced her Mayan abdominal therapy, from what I hear, it is amazing. And I can't wait to experience that. Shauna will be there channeling angelic healing energy, doing clearings, activations. I will be there. You guys pretty much know who I am, what I do. Though, if you haven't seen me at a fair, you probably haven't worked directly with me in some way or other, then, I'm pretty awesome too. We have, so many. This is Sandy Caldwell. She's going to be doing hypnotherapy. She's a hypnotherapist and art therapist. I'm not exactly sure what she'll be doing. I think she is also a Reiki master, but I'm not exactly sure what else she'll be doing. So many different people will be there. Mariah is going to be there. She's a medicine woman. She makes sacred ceremonial things like medicine pouches and rattles and wands and jewelry that you can wear that really brings the ceremony into the body and into the vessel. She's just very gifted. She's also a healer and does readings. Just so many people. And the coolest thing to me is that we're really working on building our fair to be like a tribe, like a community. And when you come in, we want you to feel like you're joining our community. So I'm excited for that. Lunch with Jesse at Jesse's Place is July 1st. So this weekend, this Friday is dinner with Jesse, and that's already booked up. So there's no tickets left for that. But lunch at Jesse's Place is available, and I think I opened it up for 6 tickets instead of just the 3. So you can come as a couple, you can bring your friends. This is all food, all drinks, everything is all provided for you. So that's going on, and we will talk about all things, whatever you guys want to talk about. I absolutely loved breakfast with Jesse that we did at Jam. Such a wonderful time. It was really, really awesome. And then there's today is the last day that you can book the 2-for-1 healing special session with Shauna and I. It's a clearing special, and that's working with the both of us for the price of one of our sessions as an individual session. So that's an awesome deal. And when you have the two of us working together, you've got a powerful, powerful team. The other person who chose to take up the special, she basically said afterwards, she's like, I feel like a completely different person. She was more empowered, more grounded, more centered, understood who she was. And when she came in, she's kind of like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I'm supposed to serve, and I don't know what it is. And by the end, she's like, I know what I'm here to do. I'm on it. So we work with all sorts of different aspects of limiting belief systems, helping you heal wounds that are deep, helping you see different perspectives, transition and translate yourself into other reality sets where you are the most empowered person in your life, and that's a powerful thing to watch. Nivienne says, I'm having an amazing light day too, first time in a long time. I was told I seem happier suddenly since I started watching Morning Oasis. That's awesome, Nivienne. I love it. I love it. You know, one of the things that I found, because I have been doing this for 6 months now, is that for myself, you know, I'm everything in our lives has to be balanced, right? So yes, I'm here doing service to you guys, but I'm also here doing service for me, right? And you guys coming in is service to me as well. Because what you guys need as you come in and share where you're at and share what your hardships and your joys and your successes are, I also get to feel those successes and feel those joys and see a reflection of myself. You guys reflect me as much as I reflect you. So it is powerful. And I have found for myself, since I started doing this show with you guys every weekday morning, my own life has become much more focused. My work has become more focused. My joy has become greater. I feel my transparency is even more clear, which I love. I love being transparent. So that's awesome. I'd love to hear that. Thank you for that confirmation, Nivienne. Yeah, so let me just look at my list real quick. I think that's everything. Yeah, and then of course the chakra workshop today is the last day you can get it at the $66 price. It's going to jump up to $111. It is a 90-minute workshop. It's awesome. It's powerful. Even if you're in the Life Mastery series and you're taking that class, the chakra workshop is very different. It is all focused on how to get your chakra system working for you. And we do that without going into all of the ideology and the mythology around it, right? I'm not teaching you Hindu techniques. I'm not teaching you the ancient systems. I'm bringing it very current and keeping it really focused, really simple. And there's a lot of diagnosis stuff that comes through in that workshop to help you see, oh, you know what? I struggle with that too. I have that problem also. Oh, maybe that's also my such and such chakra. Maybe I can do this too and reattune it and realign it and come into alignment with it. It's powerful work. And everyone who attended the workshop was so grateful, and they all purchased the recorded workshop so that even though they attended, they purchased the recorded workshop because they wanted to be able to re-listen to these classes, re-listen to the lesson. And also it has 2 really powerful meditations on it that are set to music by Kyle, who is an amazing producer and writer of music. And it's just, they're wonderful. They're set in tracks, so you can just go straight to the meditations if you want to. You don't have to listen to the lecture part again to find where the meditations are, which is awesome. Hi, Claire. Good morning to you. It's like 3 a.m. there for you. Let's see. So yeah, there's that. And the Life Mastery. Life Mastery has already jumped to its full price now. It was at an introductory price last year, and now it's at its full price. It is life-changing. I know that a lot of you have been asking me lately about what is it. So here's a little program that I have that I can send to you if you want. And the classes are, the first one is learning the language of your body, where we cover things like grounding and connecting into source, energy scanning, attunements to source and Gaia's energy, cleansing energy blockages. How do you do that with grounding energy and introducing that body scan techniques? And I also introduced the life compass in much more detail than we do here, and build a daily practice. There's assignments that you take into your daily practice. The second class is biomechanics, the mechanics of your biomachine. We deepen your body scanning work, building on your understanding of how your body works. I introduced a Kintsukuroi healing technique that came into me. It was guided. It did come up fast, didn't it, Shauna? Kintsukuroi technique is all about bringing those fractured pieces into the whole and healing the vessel as a whole. There's blueprint work, how to work with your energetic blueprints and heal that way. Chakra attuning, we do cover that. Again, this is just a part of a class where the workshop itself just focuses purely on chakras. The third class, there's 6 classes in it, is steering for your bliss, where we do an attunement into your intuition, your inspiration, and your bliss. I teach the healing rose technique. We do filters of limitation, and how do we do that? How do we do cord cutting versus filter skimming, and releasing relationships? All of that stuff's covered. How to optimize your energy and recognize yourself into a state of bliss and really keeping that instead of kind of having to come back into it. Part 4 is Inner Compass Guided Inquiry, where we do a heart bridge meditation, which is powerful. That was another one that was guided through Source, taught that to me. And we channel Source energy, learn how to focus and channel that and send that out through the heart. Oh, good morning, Kristen. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that card pull was on point for you. She says, I wasn't able to hear you until it was off work, but I was able to see you. Looking forward to dinner on Friday. Me too. I was just saying how I'm all booked up for that. And let's see. So in the Inner Compass Inquiry, we also do mirroring. We talk about mirroring much more in detail. We talk about the law of one in relationship to mirrors, introduction to Victor filter breaking. Our victim filters are so strong and in place, and they really create so much of what we consider our suffering experience. Good morning, Karen. And then part 5 is External Compass Guided Inquiry. I teach you guys my Golden Ball meditation, which is awesome. You can also find the Golden Ball meditation on our Healing Pathwalkers YouTube channel under Meditations from the Path. That's in there as well. We do deepening the mirror work, and we talk really more in detail about all of those aspects of how we limit ourselves via our mirrors. And our part 6 is empathic hygiene, overcoming social anxiety. I teach you really what's going on and mechanically when anxiety comes, as well as emotionally and energetically. We talk about the nature of reality, and we introduce you into the Let It Flow series, which is then our Adept training program, which comes after that. So it's a really amazing series, honestly. And I'm going to tell you, The entire series was guided. I basically, even constructing and making the classes was guided. It all was channeled. This is a channeled class. If Source could come down and teach, that's pretty much what this class is. So that's Life Mastery. All right, that is all of my morning announcements. I guess that took a little longer than I thought, but hey, I went into more detail. So we have 3 card pulls already scheduled for today. And I haven't seen them come in yet, but I'm just going to assume they're here or we'll be listening to the replay. I know one of them told me they would be already, which is a new listener to us. Thank you for joining us. Oh, perfect. That's awesome, Karen. Okay, so Ashley is our first card pull. And yeah, I'm getting that the Shadowscapes Tarot deck is for her. This is by Stephanie Mui-Pohl Law, Mui-Pohl Law, I think. We'll just get the cards ready. That is awesome, Karen. I'm so excited for you. I just had another student sign up yesterday and join and start. She's done a few sessions with us, and watching her step more and more into her power has been really, really cool. And like I said, Life Mastery, it's one of those series classes that even most of the people who take it are people who have already been trained in various modalities. And this just teaches them how to bring all of what they've been doing into one, together, into how to unify all of these little bits and pieces, the breadcrumbs they've been gathering, basically. All right, so Ashley, I had done a pretty intense reading yesterday with these cards, and they clearly needed some clearing out. Okay, Ashley, you got the 10 of Wands. One of the things that I love about this deck is how the illustrations just communicate so much, so much. The 10 of Wands is really about how are you bearing the weight of what you have built. So oftentimes we build up entire systems. In here, she's got a city on her back. She's strongly rooted and has a good, strong, solid trunk. She's not struggling with the weight of the city. She's gracefully holding it. But it is pretty darn heavy. It's a whole city on her back. So this card always comes into focus when it's time to really look at what have you built. How are you holding it? How are you delegating the responsibilities of it? What is the system which you have created, and how is it working for you? What's growing upon your back? So it's time for you to pay attention to that. I myself have been going through this because Healing Pathwalkers is expanding. It's starting to grow. Shauna is taking a larger role, and she's building our Healing Pathwalker Fair. We have more events. Instead of us going and attending other people's events, we're building our own events. So it's growing, and I'm really having to pay attention to how am I managing all of this. I get overwhelmed and easily overwhelmed. And sometimes because of what's going on energetically, like for instance, for the last 2 weeks, I have been shut down. I have not really been able to schedule sessions. I have only seen a couple of people over the last 2 weeks, and I really had to bring that down. Ashley, this is your card. So I had to personally be really careful about what it was that I am doing and how I'm building it and how I'm managing it, how I'm distributing the various responsibilities. And I have to let go of control of some aspects of things in order to allow for others to come in and to take up their own roles and hold up their own positions in their own places. And that's really challenging when you're the one who's built something, because you kind of have this idea of oh, what if it gets messed up? Or what if that's not representing what I want? And that's when you have to just drop in and trust that the people you're drawing to you and the systems that you've put into place are all there to create this growing thing, right? And it can't be exactly what we want it to be. It has to be allowed to be grown, right? So she's not up there managing the city. She's just providing the support and the platform for the city to grow upon, and it's growing itself. So that's a really hard lesson for a lot of us to learn. I know I struggle with it. That's where I'm at right now. And sometimes you just got to drop in and let it go and keep up doing your part and doing what you've decided your role is, and just allow the rest of it to happen. Thank you, Karen. You're welcome. Okay, Andrea is the next card pull. Ooh. Andrea, there's been some shifting and adjusting going on, I see. Very good, very good. I love feeling it when it comes in that way. That looks strong. Woo, there's a shift. I couldn't get the book out. So the Dreams of Gaia Tarot by Raven Felon is the one that's calling to speak to Andrea today. I just love her work. She's also the one who does the Messenger Oracle that we read from quite often. Powerful, powerful channel. Her Oracle work is wonderful. What she creates for us to use for Oracleship is awesome. All right. I'll just give it a quick little shuffle. One of the things I also like about her cards are gold gilded. Yeah. But they don't cut your fingers, right? I have to say, I am personally, I might upset a few people here, but I'm not a fan of Dorian Virtue. She's just not my cup of tea. And I one time did buy, I think I've actually bought 2 decks of hers. And both times the cards were so stiff and gold-plated, gilded, that it cut into my thumbs when I tried to shuffle them. And I have big, strong hands. I am a good shuffler. I can shuffle anything. But they cut me badly. And I've given them to my friends, and they connect much more strongly with her. They love the cards. They use the cards. And they wouldn't be shuffling them anyway. That's not how they do it. So it's perfect. That's just to say, give yourself permission to follow and to not follow whoever it is that you feel guided to. My friend Josh last night messaged me, and he had a long drive home, and he was like, can you tell me a new talking head to listen to? I haven't listened to any talking heads for a while. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, Josh, I'm not really listening to any of them either right now. And I said, you could listen to me. And he goes, but I already listened to you. I'm not ready to ascend yet. And I said, then I don't have any suggestions for you. I'm sorry. And the reality is that the more you connect into source, and the more you're really feeding and streaming through your own channel, that highest self channel, you kind of step away from all of the other voices, because you're getting that in. Yeah. Shauna uses them too. She's great with them. Good connection. Ooh. I love this card. I'm going to look it up real quick so I don't have to mess with the book while I'm showing the card. Yeah. Yeah, so giving yourself permission to not listen is such a powerful thing. One of the funny things, it's kind of like if you're in the workplace, if you're working in a normal job, when you meet people, the first question is, so what do you do? What do you do? And what are your degrees and blah, blah, blah. And in this community, it's like, do you know who so-and-so is? Do you know what so-and-so said? And I have always struggled with that, because no, I don't know what so-and-so said. I don't follow them. I get enough information from them to hear, oh, great, this is a feed. This information is coming in a feed. Oh, look, that's their filter. Cool. All done. So give yourself that permission. It's okay. All right. So what you got is the 11 of fire. This is the fire suit, which is, usually in tarot, it's the wands. So this is the 11 of fire, and it's masculine and feminine. the way she writes her book out, she breaks it down into key phrases, meaning, and then an inverted meaning. So I'll just read some of this. Key phrases: put aside gender stereotypes. We're both masculine and feminine. And by the way, this is Andrea's poll. Masculine energy serves to protect, and feminine energy serves to nurture. Too much of one, not enough of the other. Time to evaluate and realign. Allow the energy to increase and to ebb. Embrace the energy that best suits your needs. Energy, this 11 of fire is a balancing and realignment card. It symbolizes the importance of balancing our masculine and feminine energies and to remind us we are and always will be a mix of both. Our physical gender is irrelevant. The 11 of fire asks that we look beyond gender stereotypes to how we respond and react to day-to-day experiences. On an energetic level, our masculine energy aspects serve to protect us and others, while our feminine energy serves to nurture self and others. In simplistic societal in a simplistic society, a typical male will embody a more masculine energy than feminine. They are characteristically more aggressive and forceful, but also very protective of those they need, are in need of protection. However, they're more apt to use physical force and aggression to protect. A typical female, however, will embody more feminine energy than masculine. They're characteristically more passive and yielding and will possessing the same desire to protect the vulnerable. They will generally use diplomacy and dialogue in order to determine an option that avoids conflict. I'm going to skip ahead. An imbalance can occur when we have too much of one and not enough of the other all the time. Too much of one without enough influence from the other can create a very discordant and destructive mix. But what is the right mix? This is not about having equal parts of both, but about having a harmonious blending that is suited to your lifestyle, your personal goals, and your needs. You're going to flux in and out between these two sides, right? And where is it that you want to be? The 11 of fire symbolizes an opportunity to take a moment to evaluate your life and ask yourself whether you need to embrace a little more masculine or feminine energy in your day-to-day activities and relationships. Do you need to step up and be a little more assertive or proactive? Does something or someone need your protection? Are you not nurturing yourself or others enough? Are you being overly analytical instead of heeding your intuition? Are you allowing impatience to get the better of you when your situation calls for calm and compromise? Are you choosing a path of inaction when you need to embrace one of action in order to manifest the changes that you need? Pause for a moment and evaluate and bring your masculine and feminine energies back into harmonious alignment with your life and your needs. I want to just pause for a moment and do this, okay? I'm pretty sure we've never done this on Morning Oasis before, and this is the perfect opportunity. If you are somebody who has not yet watched any of the episodes with the compass in it, I'd strongly recommend that you do so. But if you are, then you're going to be right in alignment with this. So let's just all take a moment. And just as though you have a big golden filter, let's start at the feet instead of the head. Let's imagine that you're standing on a golden screen, like a big sieve. You know those sieves that they sift out to get the gold and let all the sand and silt drop away? We're going to use a great big sieve. But what this sieve is going to do is just filter out and clear the body, clear and cleanse the body and bring it into a state of neutrality, not balance, but neutrality, just so that you can come into feeling the body. This is another quick way to do body scans, energy scans, without having to go through the full grounding and connection. So just imagine you're standing or sitting on that golden filter, and it's rising up through your feet, up through your legs, and as it does so, it's just passing and leaving the body in a state of absolute neutrality, up through the knees and thighs, in your seat, up through the abdomen. It's collecting all this debris that you no longer need in this moment, in this time, up through the chest and the shoulders and up the spine, up through the back, up through the shoulders and arms, all the way up through the neck and head, all the way up, and we're going to just zip that filter up into source, returning all that was filtered back into source. And notice how your body feels kind of like a blank slate in this moment. Now ask your body, we always, when using the compass, orient it. Show me a yes. Feeling how the energy flushes, shifts, and changes. Show me a no. Show me a yes. Feeling that change between the no and the yes. And a no. Now show a high yes. This is like soul expansion yes, the highest of yeses. Feel how that really opens the energy up. Now you know what a yes and a no is. Now this is the most basic use of the compass because this is the polarized use, right? It can evolve and grow. For right now, ask yourself, is my masculine and feminine energy balanced? Oh, I gotta know. Perfect. Is my masculine and feminine energy harmonized? I get a yes. So though I may be out of balance, they're still working together. Okay? So we're going to call down from source because we're divine beings embodying this meat suit, right? So we're going to call down from source, from ourselves, from our highest of selves, that infinite consciousness, a strand of our perfectly aligned and attuned, optimized feminine energy, and our perfectly aligned and attuned, optimized masculine energy. And we're going to imagine them coming down, coiling around each other as they come down into the body. Feel them coming in through the crown. We're going to bring them down through the chakras, okay? Bringing them down through the crown. And at each point of meeting is a chakra. So down through the third eye, and down through the throat, and down through the heart, down through the solar plex, down through the sacral, down through the root, and continue that all the way down through the base root chakra, our lower root chakra, which resides just below our feet. And just take a moment and allow those energy centers of our chakras to radiate out this new frequency of our feminine and masculine. How does that feel? Does that feel a little bit different? For me, it does. For me, I'm noticing a difference, and I'm feeling myself shift more into a balanced state, because right now, in this place, in this time, in this moment, I don't need to protect anything. I don't need to be on the far masculine side. I don't need to defend anything. I don't need to be on that far feminine side. I don't need to create anything other than what's flowing and being in allowance. So in this time, in this space, I can actually be in total balance and show up here for you today. So that feels much better. Whenever you feel off and out of alignment, this is a beautiful technique. Look how quick that was. We did that in just a few minutes to come back into that centered, balanced state between masculine and feminine energies. We have other kinds of energies that we can balance and optimize as well, but that was a great, great experience. Okay. Our next card pull is for a new listener via Karen. Thank you for sharing it with him, Karen. I love having new listeners come in, especially men, because as we just talked about, I really love our group energy staying nice and balanced between that masculine and that feminine. And there's not a lot of room in the spiritual community for divine masculine. And those that do make their way in have to fight their way in, and that's not really the energy we want in here anyway. So this card pulls for Terrell. Welcome, Terrell. I hope I'm saying that right. Tyrell, maybe? I'm horrible at reading names and saying them correctly. It's part of my dyslexia. Let's see. Oh, Ganesh wants to talk to you. I love it when Ganesh wants to come out. I have a Ganesh statue that I keep right here at my desk. Love him. He is just my favorite god. You're welcome, Karen. You're welcome. Okay. The Ganesh, this deck is called Whispers of Lord Ganesh, and it's by Angela Hartfield. She does such a good job of capturing his energy. And I'm not sure what happened, but my circle card deck has disappeared. Interesting, isn't that? Karen says, it was in divine timing for us. Thank you for doing the work with him, for him to find you. Yes, you're saying his name right. Okay, great. Terrell. Perfect. And, you know, one of the things that I've been guided to do is to show up, to just show up and create this platform so that people can find it. So I don't have to do too much to send it out. You guys are the ones who send it out there and share it with your family and friends and people that you meet, and have been building our tribe even more. So it's powerful, it's awesome, and I love that about you guys. It's wonderful. All right, so we're just clearing that out. There we go. Oh, beautiful. I'm trying to remember. I don't think we've pulled this one before in the group. So we got Delight, card number 3. We are born with a gift of laughter. Laughter is a natural medicine. Laughter can be helpful in ways that you might not have realized or imagined. A simple laugh can help you feel better about yourself and the world around you. If you're looking at situations too seriously, try to find some humor. This will remind you to stay centered on what it is and to be grateful for what you have. Laughter can be a natural diversion and can help break up stagnant energy. When you laugh, no other thoughts come to mind. Laughing may also induce physical changes in the body. After sharing some laughs among friends for only a few minutes, you might feel better for hours. Laughter and humor can give you such amazing energy. A good hearty belly rumble can dispel stale negative energy and enable you to see life from a higher perspective. If you want more pep and humor in your life, work with Ganesh, asking him to support you in finding joy and in new ways of life. There are actually some stories that tell that Ganesh was born from Shiva's laughter. Ask Ganesh to help you lighten up through your own laughter. By doing so, you may receive some immeasurable benefits. By having a more lighthearted approach to all things that come in your way, you might even feel healthier. Laughter really is the best medicine. One of the things this reminds me of is my father-in-law, who lives in India. He, for the last, I want to say 30 or 40 years, he told me once, and I'm just forgetting the number, but it's been decades, okay? Every morning, he gets up at 5 a.m. and he goes and he meets the same group of men. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. They stand on a street corner and they laugh. They just tell jokes. And if they can't think of any jokes, they just laugh. And they start their morning with a good 10 to 20 minutes of just laughing together. And then they go walk. And he's been doing this for most of his adult life. And he's almost 70 something now, and he still works. He's still vibrant. He's still out there and moving around, and he loves to laugh. He just loves to laugh. So laughter truly is a powerful, powerful medicine. One of the things, one of my students, AJ, he talks about how much he loves to come and have dinner with me at my house, because he says that's just like, he laughs so much, and he has never laughed so hard. And I'm super grateful to have humor as a fundamental part of my life. It is huge in my life, in my family. My husband and I laugh together so hard. It's ridiculous. We fight hard and we laugh hard and we play hard and we love hard, right? Like everything we do is full bore. So it's a powerful, powerful tool. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, and I know we're already so far in the day, but it was good. It's good that we did all of that. We're kind of, tomorrow will be our last kind of wrap up conversation about fighting, which I just referenced. And we talked on our first day in the morning, we talked about, on Monday morning, we talked about what is fighting, what's going on there, and why are we doing it, and how do we express ourselves while we're fighting, and all of that. And yesterday we talked about how to take that fight and use the fight, right? How do we take the fight and understand it? We used the amazing iceberg analogy, and in order to understand how to use that blow up between two people or many people as a means of opening up and bringing to the surface something that's totally submerged internally. So today I thought, why don't we talk about how do we come together after a fight? Oftentimes when people have been in conflict with each other, they feel like there's only one of two choices: to bow down and submit, or to walk away, right? And so many relationships end in a conflict, end in a fight. It's funny because that's actually what happened with my mother and I. You know, my mom, her and I had a big fight. We didn't even really have a big fight. Actually, let me take that back. My mother just didn't show up, right? She was supposed to come. This is how my mother and I's relationships parted ways. She was supposed to come and take care of my son, our son, my husband and I's son, for 5 days. Well, he and I went to Boston because he was receiving a national award for his advocacy work in helping disabled people, for his work in his own life and his own career as a disabled individual. It was a really big deal for us, a big deal for our family, a big deal for him, and months in advance we had arranged for her to come. So as the time approached and the day of it approached, we were supposed to fly out at 4 o'clock in the morning. We had to be at the airport because our flight was at 5 a.m. She still wasn't here at 7:30 at night when she was supposed to be here in the morning, and we were supposed to get everything arranged and all of that. So here I'm putting I think at the time he was 10, 8, 9, 10, I can't remember now, 10-year-old back into bed, putting him to bed, and he didn't even know who would be here in the morning, right? So my mom still wasn't here. She missed lunch, she missed dinner, these things we had planned. And when she finally was coming, she was bringing my brother with her, who I am not comfortable with staying in my home. My brother, it's a whole other story, but he's dysfunctional. He's dangerous, actually, and quite unstable. And I didn't want him in my home for a week. I barely want to visit him at all, you know. So anyway, she brought him without asking me. And so, you know, I was very gracious, and I said, "Hey, Mom, you know, he's welcome to stay the night, and then he can drive your car home. Then you can use my car, and I'll just drive you home when we get back. That's a great idea, right?" Well, her response was to become furious with me that I don't support my family and that I'm not willing to allow him to stay there and all of this. And she's 67 now. So she was 63 at the time. She was totally blowing this whole thing up and was going to drive all the way back home, which is 2 hours. And this is like at 9 o'clock at night. And then was going to come all the way back. So that would put her not even here until after midnight. And I just was like, forget it. Don't worry about it. I will find somebody else. And thank God I had a beautiful friend who happened to be unemployed and could use the money. And we ended up having to pay her to come and stay with our son at the last minute, right? And my son likes her, so that worked, to come and stay. And it was a really stressful experience. I almost didn't go with my husband, and he hadn't arranged to have anything because I was supposed to be a sighted guide. I mean, it was just a whole nightmare of an experience. Anyway, on our way back from there, our first flight back, right as soon as we reached cruising altitude, about 45 minutes into the flight, we had engine failure. They had to shut down one of the engines, and the other engine was still working, but they weren't sure if it would stay working. It was already showing signs of failure. So they turned the plane around. They taught us how to brace for emergency landing. The whole cabin had to be prepared for emergency landing. It was a terrifying experience, but it was also a beautiful experience. Each little aisle had one person of the three in the rows kind of calming the rest of the people around them. So it was really beautiful seeing how people were coming together. So what took us 45 minutes to get to took us 15 minutes to get back to land. That's how worried they were. You know, they turned that plane around and it went straight down and really fast. It was terrifying. Okay. As we went back down through the turbulence of that cloud layer, the plane was rocking so hard. People were pulling out their cell phones and calling and saying goodbye to their family. I'm not kidding. Like it was really scary. So we landed and they gave everybody vouchers they either rearranged their plane flights so that they could get home, or they gave them vouchers to stay overnight and take the next flight, because suddenly there's like 300 passengers that need to be accommodated. So my husband and I stayed the night, and I called my mom. I sent her a text message actually, and I said, "Wow, we almost died. It's not worth fighting about. I love you. And we're okay." And that was, and her only response was, "I'm glad you didn't die." That was it. Like, that was it. And so then her and I didn't talk. We didn't talk for months. And then she got angry at me because I didn't show up at something that I hadn't even been invited to or knew she was planning. And so I finally decided it's time for me to write a letter. Now, the last time I told my mother what I thought about the way she was parenting me or how she was treating me was when I was 11, okay? I was 11. That was the last time I spoke out against my mother. And so I wrote her a letter and I said, "You know, Mom, this really hurt me. And actually, you know, you've been hurting me and my son for a long time. And these are the ways that you've been hurting us. And I have to let you know that if you want to continue to be in our life, these things can't continue. I recognize I haven't spoken up about them before, so I can't possibly expect you to know that this has been so damaging for me. However, it has been, and this is where I'm at right now." Her response to me was, "I must be crazy or you're a victim. Your victimhood is all over you. And I'm actually all done. I don't ever want to speak to you again. I release you as my daughter. The only way I will ever speak to you again, because you are so aggressive and violent towards me, is in the company of a therapist, because you need to see how you're projecting your problems onto me." And I was like, cool. I just got released. I got a get out of jail free card. And so I let her release me, and I walked away. And we really pretty much haven't spoken in 4 years. Now, that's been hard on me. You know, that's been a hard thing. When your mom doesn't want to have a conversation with you and thinks that you're so bad that she needs to be protected by a therapist from you, when she's the whole reason that your life has been fucked up and that you've been healing from your relationship with her your whole life. Oh, that was like both freeing and heartbreaking at the same time. So there's that way, right? Like blowing things up. But when I came to her, you know, I had to be clear about where I stood and what my position was. I've even read back over my letters over the years, and there's not a single part of it that I don't feel good about having written and good about having spoken. And I made sure that when I wrote that letter, I was not in a triggered space. I wasn't angry at her. I wasn't trying to hurt her. I was trying to be accountable for my own parts. I was trying to share with her my experience, speaking I feel, I think, my interpretation, my perception, right? Not accusation words. You are, you did, because of you, right? Not those kind of words, but my feeling words. This is my experience. I recognize that my perception is mine. I'd like you to know how I feel when these situations happened. So we can never have that conversation when we're in an emotionally triggered state. We can't. It's impossible. If you're in an emotionally triggered state, what you're going to be trying to do is prove yourself right, not express your position in an open format. So when we're coming back together again after a fight, whatever the fight may be, the first thing is you have to work on whatever it is that's come up for you emotionally. If you are emotionally charged, that is not the time to try to come back together in a fight. If the idea of having a conversation creates emotional turmoil or stirs up any sort of physiological response, anxiety, stress, heart rate increasing, breathing increasing, sweat, if it induces any of those things, or if it invokes that mental whirlwind of all the thoughts and ideas, you're not in a state to go to that person and try to come into reconciliation. You're not. If you do, it's just going to go blow up again. And maybe that's what's necessary. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but that's what will happen if you're still in an emotionally charged place. The other piece is that you have to allow the other person their time and space to come out of their emotional charged place. So, you have to kind of be careful. It's a delicate balance and respect that they're still in their space, right? That's why her and I haven't come back together yet. She's still emotionally charged about it. Because why? She knows she was a crap mom, right? She knows it. She knows it, and she's suffering it right now because she's got a crazy son who lives with her that she gets scared of and has to go sit in her car at a gas station till her husband comes home because he's so scary, right? Good job, Mom. So it is not the time to come together when you're still emotionally charged. That's the time for you to work on you. You've still got an iceberg there. You need to look at that iceberg. You need to work on that iceberg. Those are your things to work on, your issues. And then you have to let go of your expectation that the other person is going to think you're right. They're not. They're not going to think you're right in general. It's very rare that the other person, when you've had a conflict, is ever going to go, oh my God, you were so right. I was such a wrong person and I was so mean to you and it was so unfair. They're never going to do that. Never. So you have to let go of that expectation. And if you're going into you're going in to resolve a conflict with the idea that this person is going to validate your viewpoint and your perspective, you're still in a space where you've got an iceberg and you need to work on that iceberg because it will never happen. It just won't. It can't. Because they're still seeing their iceberg. They can't see you. They're still seeing their iceberg, right? So let go of your expectation of the other person validating your viewpoint or your perspective. That's not their job. That's your job. I used to do this with my husband. I would have a viewpoint about how an argument happened, and I couldn't let go of my view. And I felt like I would go to everybody I knew, and I'd be like, so this is what happened, and we had this whole fight about this, and this is what I said, and this is what he said, and I was right, right? And everybody would say, of course you are right, Jessie. You're always right, right? Because that's what I wanted to hear. And so that's what people were showing me. And he wouldn't. He would be like, you always think you're right. And so I felt like I wasn't right. And so I would always undermine my own position because I was waiting for him to agree. No matter how many other people agreed with me, If he, the person I was in conflict with, didn't agree with me back, then I couldn't possibly be right. And then I didn't feel like, then I felt confusion and loss and anger and frustration and irritation. Those are all me. Those aren't him, right? So we have to let go of our expectation of the other person, invalidating our viewpoint, invalidating our perspective, and agreeing with us in any way. They're only going to be promoting their own perspective, their own validations, their own viewpoints. That's all they can do because that's all you're doing. So if you're yelling at the mirror to do something different than what you're actually doing to the mirror, it can't do it. It can't. As Bashar says, if you yell at the mirror to smile at you, the mirror can't smile at you. You have to smile, and the mirror then smiles back, right? So when we're having that conversation, the only thing we can do is be accountable to ourselves, for ourselves, and to the other. That's all we can speak about is our own position, what we have done, how we have behaved, if that is in alignment with what we want to behave like. And if we feel that we need to offer an apology, we offer it. That's all we can do. So, like my letter to my mom, in my letter, I wrote also how I recognize that I don't show up very often for you. I don't come to your home very often. I have a hard time showing up because I feel like I didn't have a mother showing up for me. My mom moved away when I was 16. I was still in high school. She moved to Canada to go live with a boyfriend in Canada, okay? Moved away and left me living in the country. So it is a deep-rooted belief that my mother's going to just abandon me and I don't really have a parent. So that's something that's deep-rooted and it's mine. That's mine. It happened because of her behavior. And she's never going to take accountability from it because she has her own belief system about why she did it, why she felt valid in doing it, why that was something that was necessary. She says it's because I hated her and I didn't want her around anyway. What 16-year-old girl doesn't hate their mother? Like, really? So anyway, we can't expect them to validate our viewpoint or to make us feel justified or it's just not going to happen. So when you're having that coming together after conflict conversation, don't have it when you're emotionally charged. That's not the time. Don't have it with the expectation that they're going to validate you or make you feel like you're right in any way. Don't have it if your only reason for having it is to continue to express your anger and frustration. If you need to keep expressing that, then you didn't say everything you needed to in the blow-up phase, and you're just going for more blow-up. Maybe that's necessary, but that is not a coming together conversation. That's a blow-up conversation. So recognize that's still fighting. That's not coming together. And be clear about what you have done that you're not comfortable with. I go to my husband now, and when I try to have the you conversation with him, it doesn't even come out of my mouth anymore because I've made this commitment to myself. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to be blaming him. I want to be owning myself. I want to be owning my own perceptions, my own behavior, my own actions. So when I go to him and I'm like, I'm thinking in my mind, you did all these things. What comes out of my mouth is, I didn't actually behave the way I want. I need to. I didn't speak my truth in a way that I respect or feel like is in alignment with my integrity. I am sorry that I allowed my anger or my defensiveness or my reactivity to escalate and prevent me from seeing your point of view. And it goes on like that. And those are all truthful things. I can't expect him to say, you're right, Jesse. But when I go to him and I come in that way, this is the things that I did that I don't like, that I'm not comfortable with, and I'm sorry for them. Then he suddenly, instead of having to defend himself, instead of having to fight back, all that's left for him to do is own the parts he wasn't comfortable with, that he wasn't happy about. And so he does. And this is how we have learned to resolve conflict after it's happened. by coming together in naked accountability, in vulnerability, with the true intention of just sharing love and compassion with the other. I don't try to presume what his response would be. I don't try to assume what his pain was for my experience. I don't try to project onto him my own pain, right? That's what that is. I don't say things like, I'm sure you felt frustrated when, because that's me projecting. I don't know if he felt frustrated. I know I was frustrated. So I felt frustrated when, right? It's a very tricky line to walk, and it takes practice. So when we have fights with people, don't view that entirely as a bridge burning session, unless, of course, the bridge needs to be burned. But view it more as an opportunity to practice coming back into alignment, coming back into oneness with somebody. Because the reality is we're all just one being. That's what unity consciousness is about. And I didn't reject my mother. She rejected me. So she wants to reside on the other side of that unity. Okay, I'm an allowance for that too. That's allowable too, right? I don't have to make it work with her in order to come into unity as well, because I still love her. She's definitely a part of me. If you met my mom, you would see the similarities. We're definitely kin. I learned a lot about my perspectives, my point of view from her, sometimes because of a response to her and sometimes because of a teaching from her, right? And I learned a lot from my husband about myself and conflict. So that is pretty much what I wanted to say about the coming together after a conflict has happened. Karen has said, mirroring this from a mom who is doing the work shows me that I've cleared my iceberg so that my kids can heal. It's been a hard journey, but I've seen it do great healing. And she's also been able to heal this as a daughter with her own mother. So there is the potential to heal, right? And time marches on. So who knows where my mother and I will be in 10 years. But right now, I'm an allowance for that she's still in a triggered state, that she can't be accountable on her own. And I can't need her to be accountable to feel like I've expressed myself. So we have to be in that allowance state for what is and what isn't, and give that time to the other person to come into their own alignment as well. We don't really have time to do a meditation today. We did a lot of talking today, but we did start in the morning with a balancing of masculine and feminine energies. And I will say this, if you are in conflict with somebody, it is a really good idea to balance out your masculine and feminine energies, because conflict brings us into alignment with our masculine. Feminine energy doesn't like conflict. So that brings us into the masculine, where we turn into aggression, right? We turn into defense. We're protecting on the offense, right? So just be aware of that. Check in with your energies. Use your compass. Am I balanced? Am I being accountable? I guarantee you that your compass is going to give you the truth when you're not really ready to hear it. And one thing I have learned is that sometimes my compass will give me a flash of it, and I'll ask the question again, like, wait, what? And ask it again, and there'll be this pause, and then I'll get the answer that I think I want. And I'm like, damn it, that wasn't immediate. I know that wasn't immediate. That was me forcing my body to tell me what I wanted to. So get to know your compass and use it in situations where you're not emotionally triggered, so that when you do need it in a situation where you are emotionally triggered, you know, oh, this is not a normal compass response. This is me. This is me controlling it and ruling it. All right. So that's all I have to say for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you find yourself in conflict, practice these tools. Try it out. Just try. It's a different way of fighting. I have found it to be more successful. My life has been getting better and better and better and better the more I fight this way. Love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Nope.